Buenas tardes, amigas y amigos de Los Cuento News. Son las 6:46 de la tarde, hora del este en Estados Unidos. Estamos esperando la rueda de prensa anunciada por el presidente Donald Trump para la tarde de hoy. Estaba programada para las 6:30, se ha retrasado unos minutos, como podemos ver. Sin embargo, ya tenemos la señal, estamos por comenzar. Y estamos aquí prevenidos para cuando el primer mandatario haga su entrada. Allí viene.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good evening. I'd like to provide the American people with an update on our efforts to protect the integrity of our very important 2020 election. If you count the legal votes, I easily win. If you count the illegal votes, they can try to steal the election from us. If you count the votes that came in late, we're looking at them very strongly, but a lot of votes came in late. I've already decisively won many critical states, including massive victories in Florida, Iowa, Indiana, Ohio. To name just a few, we won these and many other victories despite historic election interference from big media, big money, and big tech. As everybody saw, we won by historic numbers.
Podemos
And the
llegar a números
pollsters got
históricos.
it knowingly wrong. They got it knowingly wrong. We had polls that were so ridiculous, and everybody knew it at the time. There was no blue wave that they predicted.
No
thought there was gonna be a
existió
big blue
la ola
wave that
azul
was
que ellos
false, that was
predijeron.
done for suppression reasons, but instead there was a big red wave,
En su lugar, una gran ola
and
roja.
it's been properly acknowledged actually by the media. They were
Ha sido
very impressed,
reconocida
but that was
por
after
los
the fact.
medios que
That
estaban
doesn't do
ahí
us
y
any
que
good.
están muy
We kept the
impresionados.
Senate despite having twice as many seats to defend as Democrats,
Tenemos
and in
dos
a
veces así,
really much
el doble
more
de asientos que defender
competitive
los
states.
democráticos.
We did a
Los
fantastic
demócratas.
job with the Senate. I think we're very proud of what's happened there. We had many more seats to defend. They spent almost $200 million on Senate races in South Carolina and Kentucky alone, 2 races, and hundreds of millions of dollars overall against us. At the national level, our opponents' major donors were Wall Street bankers and special interests. Our major donors were police officers, farmers, everyday citizens. Yet for the first time ever, we
Por
lost
primera
0
vez,
races in the House.
perdemos
I was
0
talking to
puestos
Kevin McCarthy today.
en la
He said he
House.
couldn't believe it. 0 races, very unusual thing, 0.
Es
And
algo poco
actually won
común.
many new seats,
Ganamos nuevos
with
asientos,
I think many
muchos
more on
nuevos
the way.
asientos.
This
Hay más
was
en camino.
also the year of the Republican woman.
Este es el año de
More
la mujer
Republican
republicana.
women were elected to Congress than
Más
ever
mujeres
before.
republicanas
That's
fueron
the
electas al
greatest year.
Congreso que nunca
We had the
antes.
largest share of non-white voters of any Republican in 60 years, including
Hemos
historic
tenido la mayor cantidad de votantes no blancos de cualquier republicano
African
en
American,
60
Asian
años.
American, and Native
Incluimos
American voters.
nativos americanos,
The
asiáticos
largest
americanos,
ever
latinos,
in our history. We
africanoamericanos.
grew our party by 4 million voters, the greatest turnout in Republican Party history. Democrats are
Los
the
demócratas,
party
los
of the big
demócratas
donors, the big media, the big tech.
tuvieron los grandes
And
donantes, los grandes
Republicans have
medios,
become
la
the
gran
party of the
tecnología.
American worker, and that's what's happened.
Los republicanos
And we're
somos la
also, I
gente
believe,
de
the
los
party of
trabajadores
inclusion.
estadounidenses.
As everyone now recognizes, media
Es
polling
el
was
partido de la inclusión.
election interference in the truest sense of that word by powerful special interests. These really phony polls, I have to call them phony polls, fake polls, were designed to keep our
Hay,
voters
hay
at home, create
encuestas
the
falsas,
illusion of
encuestas que
momentum
mienten.
for Mr. Biden and diminish Republicans' ability to raise funds. They were what's called suppression polls. Everyone knows that now.
Ellos levantaron
It's never
fondos,
been
pero
used
están
to the extent that it's been used
suprimiendo
this last election.
lugares
To
de
highlight just a
votación.
few examples, the day before
Voy a
election,
destacar algunos
Twitter
ejemplos.
was wrong
El día antes de las elecciones,
every occasion that I know of. Had Joe Biden up by 5 points in Florida,
estaba Joe
and they were
Biden
off by
arriba
8.4 points, and I
5
won
puntos en
Florida
Florida,
easily.
pero yo gané
Easily.
Florida fácilmente,
So
fácilmente.
they had me losing Florida by a lot, and I ended up winning
Me
Florida
tenían
by a lot.
perdiendo
Other than
por
that,
mucho
there weren't
Florida y
many
yo gané
after.
Florida por mucho.
They had him up 4 points in Ohio, and they were up by 12.2 points. And we also
Ellos
won
ganaban en 4
Ohio,
puntos en Ohio,
both
pero yo
states
gané
were
por 12
very
puntos,
easily.
muy
The Washington
fácilmente.
Post said Biden up 17 points in Wisconsin, and it was basically even.
Biden ganaba por 17
17
puntos en
points.
Ohio.
And they knew that. They're not stupid people. They knew that. Suppression.
Ellos sabían, ellos no son
There are
gente
now only
estúpida.
a few states yet to be
En cuanto a la
decided in the presidential race.
supresión de votos,
The voting apparatus of those states are run in all cases by Democrats. We were winning in all the key locations by a lot, actually.
ganamos
And
en
then
las
our numbers started
locaciones claves por
miraculously getting
mucho.
whittled away in secret, and they wouldn't allow legally permissible observers. We went to court in a couple of instances, and we were able to get the observers put in. And when the observers got there, they wanted them 60, 70 feet away, 80 feet, 100 feet away, or outside the building to observe people inside the building. And we won a case, a big case, and we have others happening. There are lots of litigation, even beyond our litigation. There's tremendous
Tienen
amount of
muchos
litigation
casos
generally because
legales,
of how unfair this process
más
was. And I
allá
predicted
del
that. I've been
asunto
talking
legal.
about mail-in voting for a long
Estamos
time.
hablando del voto por
It's really
correo.
destroyed our system. It's a corrupt system.
Este
And it
sistema
makes
es un
people
sistema
corrupt even
corrupto
if they aren't by
y
nature.
a la gente corrupta,
But they
aunque
become
no sean
corrupt.
corruptos
It's
por
too
naturaleza,
easy.
pero se vuelven corruptos.
They
Es muy
want to
fácil.
find out how many votes they need, and then they seem to be able to find them. They wait, and then they find them. And you see that on election night. We were ahead in vote in North Carolina by a lot, tremendous number of votes.
Tuvimos un
And
tremendo número de
we're
votos en
still ahead by a
Carolina
lot,
del
but
Norte.
not as many because they're finding ballots all of a sudden. Oh, we have some
No
mail-in
tanto como
ballots. It's
queríamos, pero
amazing how
están
those mail-in ballots are so
encontrando
one-sided.
boletas
I know that
electorales.
it's supposed to be to the advantage of the Democrats, but in all cases, they're so one-sided.
Es
We were up by
supuestamente
nearly
ventaja para los
700,000 votes in
demócratas.
Pennsylvania. I won Pennsylvania by a lot.
Ganamos
And it
Pensilvania
gets whittled down to,
por bastante,
I think they said now we're up by 90,000 votes, and they'll keep coming and coming and
por
coming. They find them
90,000
all over,
votos.
and they don't want us to have any
Siguen
observers.
viniendo y
Although we
viniendo.
won a court case. The judge said you have to have observers.
Eh,
Likewise in Georgia, and they're appealing. Actually, they're appealing.
Están
We
apelando.
won a case that we want people to watch, and we want observers. And
Queremos
they're actually
observadores.
appealing, which is sort of interesting. I wonder why they'd appeal.
Estoy
We want
preguntándome por qué
to
hacen
watch
apelaciones.
as they do the vote tabulations. Likewise in Georgia, I won by a lot.
Gané por mucho en Georgia.
Getting close to 300,000 votes on election night.
Más de 300,000 votos la elección.
And now it's getting to be to a point where I'll go from winning by a lot to perhaps being even down a little bit.
Estamos
In
yendo
Georgia,
a un punto donde ganamos mucho,
faraway location, totally unrelated
un poco menos en
to
Georgia.
the location of what was happening, and they stopped counting for 4 hours.
Detuvieron el conteo por 4 horas.
The election apparatus in Georgia is run by Democrats. We also had
La operación de elecciones en Georgia fue manejada por demócratas.
Way up in Michigan, won the state, and in Wisconsin we did likewise fantastically well.
En Wisconsin lo hicimos
fantástico también. In every case, they got whittled down. Today we're on track to win Arizona. We only need to carry, I guess, 55% of the remaining vote, 55%.
En cuanto a Arizona, hay que contar 56% del voto que queda.
Significantly exceeded, so we'll see what happens with that, but we're on track
Vamos a ver
to
qué
do
pasa
okay
con
in
eso,
Arizona.
pero estamos en el camino para hacerlo bien en Arizona.
Defend the integrity of the election.
Vamos a defender la integridad de la elección. No vamos a permitir que la corrupción le robe.
And we can't allow anybody to silence our voters and manufacture results. I've been doing a lot of public things for a long time. I've never had anything that's been as inspirational by people calling, talking.
He hecho muchas cosas en público y nunca han estado inspiradas.
Seen such love and such affection and such
hay amor,
spirit
afecto,
as I've seen
espíritu.
for this. People know what's happening and they see what's happening.
Esto es lo que estoy viendo de la gente, esto es lo que está
There are
pasando.
many instances which will be reported very shortly.
Hay muchas instancias en las que se reportará muy pronto. Es una gran pelea legal.
Trying to rig an election, And we can't let that happen. Detroit and Philadelphia, known as two of the most corrupt political places anywhere in our
Detroit y
country,
Filadelfia son los dos lugares
easily cannot be responsible
corruptos
for
políticamente.
engineering the outcome of a presidential race, a very important presidential race. In Pennsylvania, Democrats have gone to
Es
the state Supreme
una
Court to try and ban
carrera presidencial
our
muy
election
importante.
observers.
En
Very strong
Pensilvania trataron de prohibir a los
case,
observadores.
but they're going forward. They don't want anybody in there. They don't want anybody
Ellos no querían
watching
a
them.
nadie allá adentro, ellos no querían a nadie observando
Count the ballots. And
el conteo de los boletos, de las boletas.
there's absolutely and I can't imagine why there's absolutely no legitimate reason.
No puedo imaginar por
why
qué
they would not
razón
want to have
legítima pasó
people
esto, porque
watching
querían
this
tener a la
process, because if
gente
it's straight,
viendo este proceso.
they should be proud of it. Instead, they're
Deberían estar orgullosos
trying
de esto.
obviously to commit fraud.
Estaban
And there's
tratando
no question
obviamente de
about
cometer
that. In
fraude.
Philadelphia, observers have been kept far away.
Los observadores de Filadelfia se mantuvieron
So
lejos,
far
muy
that
lejos.
people are using binoculars
Tan lejos que la
to
gente
try
tuvo
and
que
see,
usar
and there's been
binoculares.
tremendous problems. They put
Es un
paper all
tremendo
over the windows
problema.
so you can't see in, and
Pusieron papeles en las ventanas. La gente estaba muy infeliz. La gente se convirtió, se puso violenta. En Georgia,
election day that they should be in by election day, and they weren't. Votes are coming in after election day.
en Georgia los votos están llegando después del día de la elección. Los votos deben estar el día de las elecciones, hasta donde yo sé. Ellos no lo hicieron así. Los demócratas nunca creyeron que pudieran ganar estas elecciones honestamente. Yo sí lo creo. Hay tremenda corrupción y fraude sucediendo en este momento. Hay millones de boletas no solicitadas. No pensé que esto pudiera pasar. He visto un montón de elecciones distintas antes de que ellos trataran de ir con esta gran elección masiva, yendo con montones de boletas no solicitadas.
They refuse to include any requirement to verify signatures, identities, or even determine whether they're eligible or ineligible to vote. People are walking in there. They have no idea. They're just taking numbers. They're writing down things, the workers, and doing a lot of bad things. And we have a lot of information coming and litigation.
Tenemos mucha información viniendo, va a procesos legales.
And you've seen it all. The officials overseeing the counting in Pennsylvania.
Están contando en Pensilvania, que es otro estado clave. La maquinaria corrupta democrática.
I went to school there and I know a lot about it. It hasn't changed. It's a long time ago. And
eso no ha cambiado desde hace mucho tiempo y no ha cambiado, se pone peor. En Pensilvania están permitiendo recibir boletas 3 días después de las elecciones. Están contándolas aunque no tengan ninguna identificación, ni siquiera un sello postal o cualquier cosa. No hay un sello postal, no hay una identificación. Hay irregularidades por toda la nación. Se negó entrar a los observadores en cualquier condado en Detroit. Este es otro lugar que no tiene la mejor reputación para la integridad de las elecciones. En Michigan se duplicaron boletas.
A little bit dangerous, and they had a ruling already that you have to have the votes in by election day. To the best of my knowledge, votes should be in by election day, and they didn't do that. Democrat officials never believed they could win this election honestly. I really believe that.
Ellos nunca creyeron que yo pudiera ganar honestamente estas elecciones. Yo sí lo creo.
Corruption and fraud going
Hay
on.
tremenda corrupción y fraude en marcha.
Tens of millions of unsolicited ballots without
docenas de miles
And
Boletas
I
no
told
solicitadas
everybody
están en
that
camino.
these things would happen
Estas cosas podrían
because
pasar
I've seen it happen. I
porque las he
watched
visto
a lot of
pasar.
different elections
He visto muchas
before
otras
they
elecciones
decided to go with this big, massive
antes que
election
ellos
with
decidieran ir
tens of
con
millions of ballots going out to
esta gran
everyone, in many
elección
cases totally
con docenas de
unsolicited.
miles de
This was
boletas
unprecedented in American
no
history.
solicitadas.
This was by design, despite years of claiming to care about the election security. They refused to include any requirement to verify signatures, identities, or even determine
Se
whether
negaron a
they're
verificar las firmas
eligible or ineligible to vote. People are walking in there, they have no idea. They're just
para
taking
ver quiénes eran elegibles
numbers,
o
they're
no para
writing
votar.
down things, the workers, and doing a lot of bad things. And we have a lot of information coming and litigation
Tenemos
that
un
you'll see that
montón de
will
información viniendo,
shake even
va a
people
procesos
up, and
legales.
you've seen it all. The officials overseeing the counting in Pennsylvania and other key states are all
Están
part of
contando
the
en Pensilvania, otro
corrupt
estado clave,
Democrat machine that you've written about, and
que
for a
tiene
long
una
time you've been
maquinaria
writing about
corrupta demócrata
corrupt
por
Democrat machine.
un largo tiempo.
I went to school there, and I know a lot about it. It hasn't changed. It's a long time ago, and hasn't
Eso no
changed.
ha
It's gotten
cambiado en mucho
worse.
tiempo.
In Pennsylvania,
Más
partisan
bien está peor.
Democrats have allowed ballots in the state to be received 3 days after the election,
Ellos están
and we think
recibiendo
much more
boletas
than
3
that.
días después de la
And
elección.
they're counting those without even postmarks
Están
or any
contándolas aún sin
identification
sellos postales o
whatsoever.
sin ninguna otra identificación.
So you don't have postmarks, you don't have identification. There have been a number of disturbing irregularities across the nation. Our
Hay
campaign has
irregularidades
been
por toda la
denied
nación.
access to observe any counting in Detroit.
Ningún
Detroit,
condado de Detroit permitió observar.
and I wouldn't say has the best reputation for
No
election
tienen la
integrity.
mejor
Poll
reputación
workers in Michigan were
para las
duplicating
elecciones.
ballots, but when our
En
observers
Michigan hubo
attempted to
boletas
challenge
duplicadas.
activity, those poll workers jumped in front of the volunteers to block their view so that they couldn't see what they were doing.
Bloquearon la vista para que no se pudiera ver
A
qué se
little bit
estaba haciendo con las
dangerous.
boletas.
One
Es un poco
major hub
peligroso.
for counting ballots in Detroit covered up the windows again
Cuando
with
un
large
alcalde
pieces of
cubrió
cardboard
las ventanas para que no se
and
pudiera ver cómo estaban contando las boletas
protect and
adentro.
block the counting area. They didn't want anybody seeing the counting, even though these
Ellos
were
no
observers
querían ver,
for
ellos no querían
purposes.
que nadie viera el conteo.
In Detroit, there were hours of unexplained delay in delivering many
En
of the
Detroit
votes.
hubo horas de
Final
demoras
batch did not
inexplicables.
arrive until 4 in the morning, and
Llegué a las 4 de
the
la
polls
mañana.
closed at 8 o'clock. So they brought it in, and the batches came in, and nobody knew where they came from. We've also been denied access to observe in
También
critical
nos negaron
places in
acceso a lugares
in
críticos
multiple swing states
en
counting
muchos estados
stalled for
pendulares.
hours and hours on election night, with results withheld from major
Horas,
Democrat-run
horas y
locations
horas
only to appear
de resultados que se
later.
mantenían
And they suddenly
embargados
appeared, and they all had the name Biden on them, or
durante
just
la
about all.
noche
I think almost all.
de las
They all had
elecciones,
the name Biden on them, which is a little strange. I challenge
lo cual es un poco extraño.
Joe and every Democrat to clarify that they only want legal
Reto
votes.
a Joe y a
Talk
cualquier
about
demócrata
votes, and I think they should use the
a
word legal
clarificar
votes. We want every legal vote
de los
counted, and I
votos
want
legales.
every legal vote counted. We want
Yo
openness and
quiero todos los
transparency.
votos legales
Secret
contados,
count
abiertos y
rooms,
transparentemente.
no mystery ballots, no illegal votes being cast after election day. On
Los
election
votos
day,
ilegales
the
se están
laws are very
contando
strong
después
that
de
you
las
have to have an
elecciones.
election day, and they don't want votes cast after election day, and they want the
Ellos
process
no
to be
quieren
honest.
contar
And
votos
it's so
después de las
important.
elecciones.
We want an honest election, and we want an honest count, and we want
We
honest people
deseamos
working
un
back there.
conteo
It's a very
honesto.
important job. So that's the way this country is going to win. That's the way the United States will win.
Este
And
país va a
we think
ganar, de esta manera los Estados
elected
Unidos ganan.
president, there's going to be a lot of litigation because
Van
we
a
have
haber
so much
muchas
evidence, so much
demandas.
proof. It's going to end up perhaps at the highest court in the land. We'll see.
Puede ser que esto termine en la corte más alta de la tierra, ya veremos.
We can't have an election stolen like this. And I tell you, I have been talking about this for many months with all of you.
Hemos hecho
And
esto por
I've said
muchos
very
meses con
strongly
todos
that
ustedes.
mail-in ballots are going to end up being a disaster. Small elections were a disaster. Small, very easy to handle elections were disastrous. This is a large-scale version, and it's getting worse and worse every day. We're hearing
Se está poniendo
stories
peor,
that
peor
are
cada
horror
día.
stories, absolute horror
Estamos
stories.
oyendo historias.
And we can't let that happen to the United States of
No
America. It's not a question
no
of who
permitiremos
wins,
que esto le pase a
Republican,
Estados Unidos.
Democrat, Joe, myself. We can't let that happen to our country.
No permitamos que esto le pase a nuestro país.
Having something like this happen. So it will be hopefully cleared up,
Sí,
maybe soon, I hope soon, but it'll
esperamos que
probably
pronto
go
esto esté
through
aclarado.
a legal process. And
Hay un proceso
as you know,
legal.
I've claimed certain states, and he's claiming states, and we can both claim the states. But ultimately, I have a feeling judges are going to have to rule. But there's
Eh,
been a lot of
espero que
shenanigans.
Georgia se
We have
mantenga en
to
las
stand
leyes.
for that in our country. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias. Bueno, el presidente Donald Trump se está retirando en este momento sin responder las preguntas de los periodistas y ya se da por terminada esta rueda de prensa. Agradecemos a quienes nos están acompañando, muchas preguntas, muchos comentarios en el chat. Recuerden que vamos a estar, vamos a ver algunos de los comentarios. Eh, a ver, tenemos muchos comentarios aquí que agradecemos y vamos a invitarlos porque ya lamentablemente terminó la rueda de prensa sin preguntas y respuestas, pero sí los vamos a invitar a las 8:30 de esta noche, hora del este de Estados Unidos, para que nos sintonicen en nuestra habitual transmisión de Te lo cuento News, donde hablaremos más en detalle de toda esta rueda de prensa. Gracias por acompañarnos.